Siyo from the Res. I'm Kinley.
And I'm Colton. And this is Cherokee Nation's official podcast, Siyo from the Res.
Today we have two special guests, two best friends who are doing some incredible work together. These two grew up side by side as students at our Cherokee Language Immersion School. And now their story comes full circle as both work for our Cherokee Language department at the Durbin Feeling Language Center.
Hondo is a recent Cherokee Language Master Apprentice Program graduate and voices the main character, Hiccup, in the Cherokee language dubbing of How to Train Your Dragon. Ethan worked behind the scenes as the project's audio engineer and voices the character Snotlout.
And for those of you who follow us on social media, you might have seen Ethan in a couple of our videos.
Welcome to the pod, Ethan Winn and Hondo Kirk. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good. How are you guys?
I'm doing all right.
I'm doing good.
Yeah, we're all doing good. Awesome. Well, it's good to have you guys. I know you guys are busy, but we just want to ask you a few questions, get the inside scoop of this dubbing project and hear what y'all have to say about it.
All right, yeah,
Is
I'm
that
excited
good?
for this. Yeah.
So take me back. Give me the rundown on who you are, each of you. When did you start learning Cherokee, and what led you here to be the voices in this dubbing project?
I'll just introduce myself fully. I'm Ethan Winn from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. I play Snotlout in How to Train Your Dragon, and I'm also an audio engineer for the project. I started learning Cherokee, I guess, at a very young age. I was about 3 when I first started learning, and then, it's kind of been on and off here and there, but I still try to practice when I can.
Yeah, my name's Hondo Kirk. I play Hiccup, and I started at the age of 3 learning Cherokee at the Immersion School. That's where I met Ethan over here. We went, how long did we go learn Cherokee for? Up the way to 6th grade, and after middle school and high school, just didn't really speak that much. And then stuff happened. I recently went to the Clement program and just graduated from there, and that's how I got the chance to play Hiccup because my language skills were more developed now.
Nice. So you guys are besties.
Yeah, pretty much. We're basically brothers, yeah.
Like you guys went through immersion school together, I'm assuming. What's it like to be like working together and then just knowing each other all the way from when you're young kids?
I mentioned it one time, I think, as a kid, we would like play pretend in Cherokee. And, we would all like think about like, oh, it'd be so cool if we could like do our own movies and stuff like that in Cherokee. And so in a weird way, it's kind of like, I guess, the cliche saying of like, it's a dream come true. I get to work with one of my best friends every day, and we got to work on the same project, voice acting in Cherokee. So it's just kind of I still kind of pinch myself thinking about it, but it's probably one of like the coolest dreams that's become a reality for me.
That's so cute.
I think we'd like to talk a little bit more about that. Like, for a lot of people, this project is a full circle moment, not only just for you guys, but for many of the other cast. A lot of you guys have either started off speaking first language or you guys have started off in the immersion school. What's it like using those skills that you've learned from a young age to come back and help teach the youth that are in a similar position that you once were?
To me, at least, it's growing up learning it and everything. You kind of mentioned, full circle for everybody. I think in another sense, it was full circle for us because we played together in Cherokee, just being good friends. I think another part of that is that when I was learning, we didn't really have content like this. And so getting to use my language kind of like show these kids that it's possible to play pretend, it's possible to act in Cherokee, it's possible to do basically whatever you like your imagination wants you to do in Cherokee. That's kind of like I get to give that back to the students. I get to give them something that, growing up in the language department, we didn't really have movies like this, content like this. So I get to give them something that they can actually own. Like, we can say that this is in Cherokee, that this is, in a way that's like, it's their movie, too, because it's something that they can watch every day, in the household or something. Kind of like as kids, you have a certain show or cartoon that you were attached to. I'm hoping this can be something like that for them.
What about you, Hondo?
When I joined CLAP, they was like, would you be okay being a teacher? And at first I was like, yeah, that seems pretty cool. And then I didn't realize that there's different opportunities with the language besides teaching. I got introduced to Sarah Ostage about the dubbing and the Rings of Power and all that. And then with dragons, it was, honestly, I was like, I'd rather do this. I really think this would be more beneficial for me because I don't think I would be a good teacher. I don't have those type of skills. I could probably learn them, but I was like, this is something that I think I actually love doing. And it's very, like, I feel very blessed, I guess. I don't really use that word a lot. But that I can make content like this for the children, and not even just for children, like for adults that want to learn. Because I have friends that ask me all the time that, like, what's this mean? What does that mean? I'm like, I can't tell you everything. I don't know everything. But yeah, it's very rewarding.
So how did the opportunity come about for you guys? Were they just like, oh, you Ethan, you Hondo, like, we want you guys? Or was there like a tryout process? Like, how did that all come together?
It was for the Jalak Idiwani, that Let's Talk Turkey. They were filming the intro, and I got asked to be in it. And I was like, yeah, so, like, and if you ever see the intro, I'm, like, in the very back. Just see this guy walking around like this. But I did that, and then Ostage, Sarah, she asked Ethan to grab me when we were done and had me do an audition tape for the character Finrod in The Rings of Power, who's Galadriel's brother. And I did that part, and I thought that would be it. I'd be like, okay, I did that one thing. It was pretty quick. And then I got heard about Dragons, and they had me do full audition. Like, we auditioned everybody, I think. And I was thinking I was going to get maybe, like, play some Vikings or, what's it, the character you played, Ethan?
Snotlout.
Yeah. I was like, I'll probably have his voice range. And then when Sarah came back, he's like, hey, we want you to do Hiccup. I was like, Hiccup? Me? So I tried it, and then we had to, like, pitch my voice up definitely because I don't got that range. Or maybe I do. What do you guys think?
No, you had it. Yeah, for sure. You had it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's how I kind of got the part of Hiccup.
What did that mean to you? Like, how excited were you to find that out?
I was really excited, and then the first recording session, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of pressure going on because we had a month to finish it.
About a month and a half.
Yeah, and I was like, this is a lot of pressure. Ethan really pulled me out one day. Like, after a week, he was like, hey, we don't want it just to be understood. We want it to be good. And I was like, okay, I got you. And so, like, that next, I think it was, like, Friday. So, like, Monday I came back, and I was like, I'm going to lock in. And, like, Sarah had to get in the booth with me a couple times. She was like, because I would just stand there. And, like, for instance, when I'm yelling about riding the dragon, they would be like, just move around, go crazy in there. So it was very awkward because she would just be staring at me in there. I was like, okay, I think I'm done.
So you actually had to, like, act it out.
Yeah.
Almost. That's cool.
Yeah, we threw a dragon in there, actually.
Low res dog.
Yeah. For me, it kind of started way back whenever I got hired on initially. I was cast in The Rings of Power, and I was at a meeting. It was like a cast and crew meeting that we had for it, and afterwards she kind of pulled me aside and asked me what I was doing for work, and at the time I didn't have a job, and I was looking for a job, and so I told her I was available, and started off as an audio engineer and everything. As an audio engineer, I kind of picked up on a lot. I didn't go to school for audio engineering, so picked up on a lot, and I think I gained her trust through that, because while doing that, it kind of gave me a lot of insight, and as like a voice actor, what the director might be looking for, just because sitting next to her, I learned a lot from her and stuff like that. And so not only as an audio engineer did I gain her trust, but as a voice actor, I got her trust. So she kind of approached me to play Snotlout, which sounds very like Nepo baby of me to not have to really audition. But I think she had a lot of trust in me to just say, we're pretty hard pressed on a deadline here. I think you can do it. Do you think you can do it? And I just told her, yeah, I'm 100% down to do it, and I can, I'll do my best. So that's kind of how I ended up playing Snotlout.
Can you walk us through what a typical recording session looks like? How long did it take, and how long did it take in general to finish?
So for a recording session, we call them recordists. Like, as a recordist or audio engineer, like, my job is to make sure that the session's set up, mics are in place. The booth is kind of set up to where the sound is, like, not necessarily bouncing off the walls everywhere. Because I think as an audio engineer, you kind of dictate how smoothly the session goes and everything. Well, the audio engineers are kind of like the little, like, unsung heroes of dubbing. I always call them that, even though they get, like, a lot of respect in the industry. Yeah. I think outside of the industry, if you're just watching something, you're not really thinking of somebody that's working the session and everything like that. Our job is just to make sure that the levels sound good, the people are, like, close enough to the mic so that way it registers the way it needs to and stuff like that. And so that's kind of the job as the audio engineer. And then as the director, your job is to kind of, like, get in there, give the direction. You kind of set up what it's going to look like. So in there, we have, like, a little screen that shows the align. And I always call it, like, karaoke, like a karaoke machine, that's where the voice actor reads that. And you kind of have to keep the actor on pace and in focus of the character that they're playing and everything like that. we also have a language coach in there that's kind of helping us out with like the language and everything, because I'm not a fluent speaker. And so we have somebody in there that kind of help us out if the talent is like struggling with a word or something like that. And so that's kind of what a normal or like everyday session looks like. In terms of how long it took us to do this project, I think it took us about a month and a half. I always say a month of like total like recording time, but just for time reasons, I say a month. And so we finished a feature-length film in a month.
Which is pretty unheard of, right?
For our team, yes. We're not a big team at all. So I think a normal dubbing team is about anywhere like 15 to 20 people on a project, and they'll finish a movie in about 2 months.
Yeah.
And we did kind of like a similar thing with them, but with like 5 times less the manpower. And so, that's probably my favorite thing about this project. And the thing I'm probably the most impressed by is how fast we got it done with the few people that we had working on it.
And you guys talked about being not fluent speakers. So were there any particular scenes or characters that were challenging to translate, or like words that were challenging to translate?
Yes, there was kind of a little bit of a discourse for the word dragon. Some people were okay with like using Uniktan, which is like the winged serpent that's in the Cherokee mythology. And we thought, it's like relatively close to a dragon, and it's kind of like that connecting to the students, something that makes sense to them. Some people weren't necessarily okay with that. I wouldn't say okay with that. To them, I think they said there was a better way to describe a dragon, because we're talking about a dragon, not Uktan. Was it Agil on a wool desk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Agil on a wool desk, and it's like those that breathe fire is what they used. And so throughout the movie, you can actually hear both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are some scenes where they're saying dragon and Uktan would fit in easier, but to be more accurate, the longer statement, that's probably
right.
I've always wondered that you guys have to take that into account, like how many mouth movement, how many syllables per word. And with a language like Cherokee that's not based in the same realm as English at all, did you guys run into a lot of that where it's like the translation wouldn't look the best on animation?
Yeah, we do a lot of like, because a lot of this is geared towards kids, and it's geared towards like second language learners or maybe people with families. And so there are some like maybe a little more advanced words that you don't hear a ton of and everything. But in this project, we try to keep it as like simple as possible for the translations. If we had to, like, if a scene required like a funny line or funny sound, or if it required a more serious tone, then we would have it translated into that word that would fit it more. But for the most part, we kind of kept a lot of the translations a little more simple. We reused a lot of the words, like ayo or asa is in there as well. Yeah. We just reuse like simple terms, so that way people that are watching this and learning the language can like hear it and like pick up on stuff. So that's kind of what we did with this one.
Did you guys have to work closely with the consortium to translate some of the harder words into Cherokee?
Yes. I didn't specifically work with them a ton, but our language coaches are actually second language learners, but they're like the best second language learners in the world. I'll go ahead and shout them out. Larry Carney and Mr. Patrick Del Percio. They worked really closely with them to kind of make sure that, because what their job was kind of to like bring the context of the world into into our Cherokee world and everything. And because obviously if you give a speaker some of like the jargon or the lingo of this world that we're trying to translate, they might not fully understand it, and they'll like, maybe translate it literally. Maybe something that's supposed to be funny will get translated in like a not so funny way. We kind of bridge the gap with these second language learners, or second language speakers as we call them, to work with the translators and to make sure that we get the translation that we need that fits in the context of the world that we're trying to build.
Nice.
As with many projects like this, the nature is very secretive. Mm-hmm. What was the process like of keeping this from a lot of people that you might tell other stuff to? I would have been very excited to be working on it.
Yeah, it's like, my dad works, Winn, Kirk, I'm not sure if you guys know him, but he works at the immersion school. And he kind of knew about it. Because he just straight up asked me about it. And I was like, you know about it? I was like, okay. But we couldn't tell my mom or my brother. And
oh, wow.
So we would just...
you're better than me.
Right? Because I had to miss a week for to do all the recordings and stuff, like of class. And one of my teachers, Steve Daughtery, he plays Gobber everyone else is like, why is Sonoy gone? Why is Hondo gone? Did he get sick or something? And Steve was like, no, he's job shadowing with Osage or Sarah. But he's the only one that knew, I think. Yeah.
So it's a group effort to keep it secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. I immediately told my girlfriend Whitney because she loves the movie. And I told my mom. But those are the only two people I did tell. Like, animation was something, like, I've always wanted to kind of, like, dive into since I've started working in dubbing. And so to see that we were working on our first animation, I was kind of almost over the moon about it, even though I didn't necessarily grow up watching this movie a ton. I've only seen it once prior to watching it 100 times after release. But it was kind of like, to me, it opened up a lot of world of opportunities for me, or not just for me, for us, really, to kind of like work on different projects. So I was excited for it for that reason. And I knew it was a property that people loved, something that people grew up watching. And I know for sure my girlfriend loves it. She talks about it a lot. But it was hard for me to keep it a secret from like all my other friends, like outside of my circle and everything, because I just wanted to talk about it. Like, I think this is something that, I don't know, I feel like I'm reiterating the same things, but that's just, I think, how much it meant to me was that we can just, like, this opens up so much more. Like, there's so many other properties we can use. And there's a couple others that I would love to work on that I hope we get to do. So
2010, I know you're a bit younger than me. I was a sophomore in high school. So you guys would have been right at the demographic that How to Train Your Dragon, the original cartoon, hit. Does that make it more special for you because it is, for your generation, a iconic piece of media?
I think it's what kind of made it special for me was the fact that I watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
And so when I'm working in the booth or even just working on this project as an engineer, I just kind of, I get to kind of relive those scenes, relive the moment I was in the theater watching this movie, particularly Hiccup and Toothless's first flight. Shows how much of a fan I was. But and I think another thing too was I used to draw a Nightwing all the time as a kid.
Night Fury?
Night Fury, Nightwing. I said Nightwing. Let's cut that out. Like I said.
Okay.
Yeah. And so there was I had a little bit of his obsession with like the design of the dragon. That's still like imprinted in my head. Like I think about it. I think hearing a bunch of my friends my age talk about it, even the ones that aren't really learning the language, it's almost like I'm not really like a gift giving person, but if I were, this would be like a gift that I'm giving to them almost like.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that my voice or hit that. Not necessarily like in the form of my voice, but like look at the work. I work. We work so hard on this, and I know this is something you really enjoy, and stuff like that and everything. So that's kind of like how I felt about it.
It was a really big deal, I thought, because I thought we were gonna maybe work on like another adult project, like Rings of Power. I was like, I really think we need to put something out for the kids, and then Sarah was like, well. Let me tell you something. And then when she told me, I was like, oh, she let me audition. And she was like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. And I remember when people like, I came for one recording session and it looked like a mess. Like I just woke up. But you interviewed me and you were like, what does it mean to be on this project? And I was like, it means everything. Because to give kids like entertainment that we didn't have. Because I remember I said this to a speaker, like I said Luigi, and it's like, and like Mario, because when we were like 6th grade, we were all Mario and Luigi fans back then. And that's all we could really talk about, really, in Cherokee. Yeah. But I said that to the speaker one time, and he was like, nope, it's Yonig. It's Yonig. And I'm like, okay, my bad. Had to work with what I had. But yeah, it means everything to be able to give these kids entertainment that we didn't have.
So How to Train Your Dragon, the Cherokee dubbing project, it's now live on Peacock. So people have probably watched it. Have people close to you guys seen it? And I know we had the showing, the premiere also, but have people seen it that are close to you? And what are the reactions that they've had?
We actually had like a family showing. Sonoy and I did this past Friday. I don't know. I think it was really cool, kind of like seeing our families laugh at it. In like a good way, not necessarily laughing, like making fun of it. Kind of like seeing them hear the language. A lot of our families had parents, grandparents that spoke the language, so it's almost like anytime you can do something like this for them, it kind of reconnects them to those people that they might have lost. And so it's just kind of like, and it also brings us together even more. So I don't know, just like they laughed at it, they laughed at all the funny lines Hondo said. Yeah. And then, and a lot of people, I guess, didn't know who I was and everything. But no, I think just seeing my mom's kind of like happy reaction that we have content out there was pretty rewarding. And then seeing my girlfriend talk about like one of her favorite childhood movies is almost kind of like we did it justice almost, or at least I think we did, to kind of like bring some of that soul that world had, that show had for a lot of people.
I still get like people will just see me like, you all did a good job. And what's it be like, yeah, me and my family went. We watched it like 3 times already. It's kind of crazy. I'm like, my voice is being played in their house.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But yeah, sometimes I don't even know what to think. I'm like, we did this movie, and then they're already talking about, like, they're like, what about the second one? People keep saying that, like, when's the second one come out? I'm like, well, hopefully sometime soon.
Speaking of that, are you guys working on some projects that you can't name?
I think we're working on a couple. I can name the Rings of Power. That's still something that we're working on, trying to streamline that to the best of our abilities. And then there's a couple others. I think they announced it at during Cherokee Holiday. It's like curriculum projects.
I just call it the Cherokee stories.
Yeah, it's like, I think there's like 30 Cherokee stories that have been written up, and they're going to be animated, and we're kind of doing the voiceover stuff for it as well. So I think that's something we're doing in tandem with the film office.
What was it like working with DreamWorks Universal Studios, and maybe how was the reception of a Cherokee dubbing, working with a team that didn't necessarily have a dog in the fight, but was excited to, I'm sure, get a Cherokee version out there?
I think it made me like a little more enthusiastic about our projects and everything, and that DreamWorks didn't have to work with us. They didn't have to help us out with this or anything, but they wanted to. And I think that's like a really important thing, is like they wanted to help us. They wanted to, give us, something that we can work with and kind of give our communities. It makes me excited, kind of like seeing that Hollywood has like a care or even like a space for like indigenous arts and stuff like that. I think a lot of us have like limited our vision on who we can work with and what we can work with. And this kind of like opened my eyes to like the infinite possibilities that we have on the Cherokee Nation reservation.
What about you, Hondo?
I think it's pretty crazy. Like, I remember when the Rings of Power, when you guys told me about that, I thought it was pretty crazy. I was like, Amazon, like, they actually want to do this with us? Like, I was not expecting that. And then when you guys talked about DreamWorks, I didn't think it was going to be How to Train Your Dragon. I thought it was going to be something like newer, that the newer kids liked. But I really thought it was really cool that they got How to Train Your Dragon, which is something that our generation grew up watching.
You kind of brought up a good point. Was there a specific reason for the selection of How to Train Your Dragon? I've heard differing accounts. I've heard it was like maybe an easier one to translate, or had less colloquialisms of things. But I would like to hear it from your perspective on if you do know the story, why.
I actually wasn't in on those meetings. I just know that some people had some connections to the studio, and they that's how like the meeting started. And then I do know for sure though that it was just something for the kids to kind of have that, because I think the whole idea behind the immersion program and the Cherokee Village and everything is to kind of have a living language, and I think to give something to the kids to where they continuously speak it, not just in school but also at the house. It kind of like reinforces that idea of a living language, that it's not just in our schools, it's not just in our offices, it's not in our speakers village, but it's in the homes, all over Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and now all over the country. So I think that's kind of the idea that they had behind choosing it.
If you could dream big, what would be your ultimate Cherokee dub project or franchise that you would do?
Mine, honestly, I would say like the Marvel Universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that'd be pretty cool. I rewatch that stuff all the time.
If you were a Cherokee Avenger, who would you be?
I don't want to be a Hulk because he has no lines. Iron Man would be sick, but I don't think I could pull off Iron Man.
There you go. Just have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
Mine would probably X-Men, like the animated series, particularly X-Men 97 would probably be one that I do. I think that's just, I've always like had like some sort of, I guess, sweet spot for the X-Men growing up and everything. And so that's kind of...
Are you thinking Wolverine, Juggernaut?
I was thinking like, I'd love to do Wolverine. I wish I was, I guess, charismatic enough to pull off a Gambit, but I don't think I can do it. And I don't know if I'm Boy Scout enough for Cyclops. So I think Wolverine would be something I kind of aim for.
Hey, you would be the second Okie to voice Cyclops or to play Cyclops, right? James Marsden's also
from the
the
Oklahoma
movies,
State University.
Yeah.
What about you? You can't just
What?
you know, if you could be
If you could
an Avenger and if you could speak Cherokee.
We'll get you in there. Yeah, we can just throw you in there.
I can say Siyo, as you can tell from the name of the podcast. When I think X-Men, I think of the early 2000s movies.
Yeah.
Is it Alan Cummings that plays him?
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
I just found him creepy as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if he has that many lines, so maybe I could I could learn
maybe
enough
do
Cherokee to voice him. You know?
Yeah.
Black Widow, obviously. Is Rogue?
Yeah.
An
He's an
X-Men?
X-Men. Yeah.
Okay, I would do Rogue.
Yeah.
That's my niece's name, so that's the only reason why I know.
What advice would you give to other indigenous communities wanting to bring their languages into popular media and maybe get a dubbed version in their indigenous language?
For a long time, it felt like it was like, this is just an idea, this is just an idea, this is just an idea. But we were all too nervous to bring them to reality. And so I think the only advice I really have is like to kind of just like do it regardless of the situation. Do it if you're, tired, dude, if you're too busy or something like that, not to be all preachy and everything like that. But I think with us, we recognize that our language is, in other words, like dying.
Yeah.
We kind of viewed it as like we don't have time to just continue storming up ideas.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do something now. That's kind of what kind of kicked us into gear to start dubbing things, because we knew it would be in the homes. It's easier to do than fully produced movies, where you have to be on set and everything like that. And easily accessible because our booth is set up in Tahlequah. But I think at the end of the day, we just kind of did it. We took initiative. We wanted to, just put our ideas into use and stuff like that. So I think a big goal for us as a dubbing studio is we want to help those tribes start dubbing in their language as well and everything. And so, I'm not just saying this as in like do it and then they don't, like if somebody doesn't have the resources, like our ultimate goal is that we want to prove that it's possible, but also help you attain that goal in the future as well. So
that's awesome.
So I know this on a more lighter note. I know you guys, you had a lot of lines, but is there one Cherokee word, phrase that you had to say, or a quote in the movie that you hope listeners could take away? Or one of your favorites, maybe?
I think mine, it's when Snotlout is like, I can't remember what he says in English. He's like, wait, are you guys going to teach us or something like that? But then I said it, and I intentionally made my voice crack in there because I don't think I sound like a 13-year-old kid or something like that. And so I say, si, tlake, yidaski, yo. I can't remember how to say it, but yeah. But I say it like super fast, and I think I was just like missing the line. I was like, there's something missing in there. And so on my last take, I like forced my voice to crack so that way I can kind of like reach that register. That was my favorite line until there's a simple phrase I said when I first appear on screen. And I think Gobber grabs Snotlout's head and like pushes him to the side, and he just says, "Ayo." And when I was at the premiere, immediately after I said that line, I hear all those kids going like, "Ayo, ayo," and they're all like laughing in there and stuff like that. So that kind of became my new favorite line. And it's a simple phrase. It's kind of like the way we say ouch or ow or something like that. And so I mean, it's just those little phrases. I think if you can pick up on those, that's like a great start to just use the language in the house and stuff like that. I mean, I use ayo every day if I stub my toe or something. Yeah. So ayo would probably be mine.
Very cool.
But my favorite lines are like from Leonte Mayhew, who plays Fish Legs. He said, Ethan told me to watch out for when he does when doing the dragon training, and he's like listing their power stats or something. He's like, something quickness, something swiftness, something strength. Like, it's just the way he does this. I'm like, did you even cast him? It sounds like the original guy.
Yeah.
But the way he does it is so funny. And then Larry Carney, he just did a lot of the Vikings, but he nailed them. And there's one where all the Vikings show up on the island and blast a hole in, and they think all the dragons just fly away, and they're like, and there's this one Viking just says, "Yida dugga," and I need a dugga, and that just means like we did it.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why, but like when you solo it out, it's just him saying that, no one else saying anything. Hilarious.
There's also another one. it's at the end in that same scene, Gobber or Steve says, like, Hawino Wasulo. And, like,
Yeah.
basically in the English, though, Brad says, like, it only works with the way Brad said it in Cherokee, and I wish I remember it. Because in the English, he says, Stoic says, all hell's gonna break loose. And Gobber immediately says, in my undies. And, like, it was such a dumb thing that I kept laughing at.
Hawino Wasulo something.
Yeah. But Brad had, like, delivered it kind of, like, perfectly. Because I remember the language coaches were, like, so insistent that line has to be. The joke was in my undies in Cherokee, but in Cherokee, the joke was Brad's setup to the joke almost. Yeah. And so that was kind of like my favorite, like, little intricacies, for the line and dubbing that we work in. So, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, my favorite part is the lightning round. Basically, we ask you questions and you answer them.
Quick lightning round. Favorite dragon from the movie?
Toothless.
Favorite other character that you didn't play?
Fish legs.
Gobber.
Favorite scene to record?
Training scene where my voice cracks.
Probably when I'm riding the dragon. When we're flying, because I have to yell a lot and my voice cracked a lot, and it was really funny, I thought.
Funniest behind the scene moment?
I think there's a couple times we had to keep feeding Hondo energy drinks.
Yeah.
So he would, like,
I pulled an all-nighter because it was Friday, and we came in Saturday to record, and I drank like 3 Celsius in one go. And we had Steve in there, and he kept making me say it, and I thought I was saying it right, and he's like, no, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Oh, and he was like, we'll come back to it, and I was like, no, I'll get it.
You remember the Titans moment. We got this. Character you guys relate to the most?
Gobber.
Snotlout or Stoic? No.
Not Stoic.
I'm Stoic, yeah.
The hardest word or phrase to translate or pronounce in Cherokee?
Probably something that could mean something else inappropriately.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch.
Yeah. Like the word for try.
Yeah. I'll say that. I'll say that later.
You say that for later. I think that would have to be mine. Something that, like, if you just mispronounce a single syllable, it's the speakers will be laughing at you. Yeah. So
they're like, man, you put that out there?
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit. Go-to snack during recording sessions.
What was it? Cough drops.
I think mine was cough drops. I just took your cough drops and started using them as well. Yeah.
If you could voice any other DreamWorks character that isn't in the movie, who would it be?
Puss in Boots.
Oh, I was about to say that. Shrek.
I respect it. Those are big shoes to fill, literally.
Yeah.
Favorite part about working together?
I think the fact that we're not very serious around each other. Like, we'll just be laughing all the time.
The fun memories. He makes, work coming into work really fun. So really blessed to have him as a partner.
What's next on your creative bucket list?
For myself personally, probably just to write more and create more in the language. That's something that I've always wanted to do. And so I think that's something that I would like to head towards.
I think I would have the same thing. I really want to get better at writing.
All right. Well, that was fun. We love the lightning rounds. Where can people watch How to Train Your Dragon in Cherokee?
You can watch it on Peacock. It is under the same How to Train Your Dragon animation. If you haven't updated the app, you'll need to update the app to watch it. You just use the English subtitles in order to keep track of the what's being said, from the Cherokee and everything. So it's just like picking another language and watching it.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on a pod.
Well, thank you guys so much for asking. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you guys a lot. I think you guys are both at the cutting edge of what all you're doing. And it's nice to see somebody like Ethan, who was just a mere video intern a couple years ago, take on a project like this and knock it out of the park. And I think you guys are doing great. And I'll love to look back at the interview in 5-10 years and talk about all the new things that you guys have dubbed and, being super successful and being household names. But thank you guys for coming in.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, I had a lot of fun. And thank you for the kind words.
Wado. Siyo from the Res was recorded at the W.W. Keeler Tribal Complex in Tahlequah on the Cherokee Nation Reservation.
This episode was hosted by Kinley Keys and Colton Brandstatter.
Our producer is Brian Dugan.
Our podcast art was designed by Justine Eden.
This episode was edited by Samantha Robinson.
Soundtrack by Chuge Mackey.
If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe and leave a review. It'll help more people find us, and please share this episode with your family and friends, especially some of our elders who may not be on social media or listen to podcasts.
And don't forget to follow Cherokee Nation on social media for podcast updates and behind-the-scenes content.
We want to hear from you. Do you know any Cherokee Nation citizens that have an interesting story? Email us at podcast@cherokee.org.
Until next time, stay connected, watch out for each other, and see
Siyo
yo from
from
the
the
res.
res.